Between the years of 1863 and 1869, the First Transcontinental Railroad was built. Two competing companies, the Central Pacific Railroad and the Union Pacific Railroad, worked feverishly to lay down more track than the other in order to obtain the most benefits from the government. But where did this giant project come from? Who even thought about laying down thousands of miles of track to connect the new country's coasts? There was a man, Theodore Judah. The Transcontinental Railroad was his brainchild. He was a practical dreamer from Connecticut who had a dream that a man could ride a train from New York to California in a matter of days. One can imagine, there were many people who thought Theodore's dream was an unattainable goal and called out Theodore, naming him Crazy Judah. But Theodore stuck to his guns. He said to his wife regarding the Transcontinental Railroad,
"It will be built, and I am going to have something to do with it. Theodore D. Judah."
the only thing Theodore needed was support. He drafted a plan and sent it to Congress.
A practical plan for building the Pacific Railroad, January 1, 1857. The project for construction of a great railroad through the United States of America is the most magnificent project ever conceived. During the first 25 years, 25,000 miles of railroad has been constructed in the United States and $1,000 million expended thereon. This road is but 2,000 miles in length, and its cost not over, say, $150 million. This highway, the greatest and most important of them all, remains unbuilt, maybe said unsurveyed, simply reconnoitered. Its popularity is universal, its importance admitted, its practicability believed in, its profitableness unquestioned. Theodore D. Judah.
And so the Pacific Railroad Act was passed by Congress in 1862. It marked the beginning of one of the greatest endeavors man has ever set out to accomplish. Soon after the Pacific Railroad Act of 1862, the Central Pacific Railroad and the Union Pacific Railroad began a most amazing race to see who could lay the most track. The reason they were racing was because the government had agreed to provide benefits for the railroad companies. For every mile of track a company laid, the government would provide them 6,400 acres of land and $1,600 to $3,200 depending on the terrain. It was a face-off between the Central Pacific and Union Pacific Railroad companies. The Central Pacific Company had a force of Chinese immigrant workers. Although thought to be too fragile and small, the Chinese proved themselves by lowering themselves in baskets over cliff sides to plant explosives. These explosives were used to carve a place for track to be laid through the Sierra Nevada mountains. The Union Pacific Company had a workforce of Irish immigrants and Civil War veterans. During the beginning of this race, the Central Pacific Company took the lead, blazing through the Sacramento Valley. But, as they approached the Sierra Nevada mountains, construction slowed. The Union Pacific Company started in Omaha, Nebraska, and quickly started making up ground, covering the Great Plains with ease. This did not last forever, as the Union Pacific Railroad hit Indian Territory. Native Americans viewed the railroad as a noisy violation of their treaties with the United States. Native American war parties lost no time in raiding labor camps working on laying track. Finally, after 6 years of hard labor, revolutionary technology, and dedication, the Central Pacific Railroad and the Union Pacific Railroad met at Promontory Summit, Utah. On May 10, 1869, Lee Stanford drove the last spike, completing the Transcontinental Railroad. This was one of the first mass media events ever in United States history. A telegraph man relayed the entire event to the rest of the country. When the final spike was hit, the man sent a single word to the country: done. The First Transcontinental Railroad went on to be one of the most successful enterprises so far in American history. The First Transcontinental Railroad that Theodore Judah had dreamed of spawned many other transcontinental railroad services, expanding the ways one could head west. This First Transcontinental Railroad was perhaps the most important invention so far in American history. The railroad did many things. It encouraged commerce, safe travel, and fast travel. But most importantly, it connected the West and the East of America, a country that now truly felt like it was the United States.